My name is Biyika Lawrence Songa, Member of Parliament for Uraa County in Zombo District in West Nile. And in Parliament, I'm the chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Climate Change. Today, I have traveled with my committee for a field work covering the districts of Pakwach and Bulisa. Today, we have completed Pakwach, and our objective is basically looking at the loss and damage as a result of climate change. We have seen climate change manifesting itself in form of floods, in form of strong winds, hailstones, and heavy rains. And I can assure you that this is going to continue for some time if you look at the forecast of the Meteorological Authority. So we are looking at this because we know that when floods come, many communities are affected, especially the vulnerable communities who are living either on high altitude area or in the lowlands or the floodplains. And for the case of Pakwach and Bulisa, this is actually a floodplain. It is a Rift Valley flow, and so the Nile water is equally flooding, but the tributaries of the Nile that are originating from the highlands of Zombo and Nebi, they are also bringing a lot of water to the Nile. Now, the communities that are living in places like Wadilai sub-county, which is in Pakwach district, people are living in Panyimur sub-county, also in Pakwach district, Panyigoro, along the Nile, all the way up to Rhino Camp, Obongi, up to Laropi, to Dufile. These communities are vulnerable as far as the flood waters of the Nile are concerned. And so for us, we came as the Climate Change Committee to assess the loss and damage and also capture some adaptation measures these communities are using to withstand this kind of floods or the climate change impacts. But also we are looking at the losses. We have seen a number of homes that are washed away. We have seen a number of properties destroyed by the floods. We have also got reports that children who are crossing to schools sometimes could not go back because after rain, the road is cut off. The worst case scenario is children coming all the way from Amuru and Nuoya district crossing to Wadilai to study in primary school because there is no nearby school on the Nuoya and Amuru side. They are crossing every day by small boats to school. These are big challenges. So it calls upon the whole entire government to pay attention to this because climate change will continue. Climate change was with us, but the impacts are increasing. Now it affects all sectors of the economy, education, health. In health, for example, when it flooded, even the water got contaminated. The communities in Wadilai and all these places I've mentioned are really in dire need of clean and safe drinking water. And if that is not provided, there will be cases of waterborne diseases. So climate change affects all sectors of the economy, health, education, transport, and of course the infrastructure is definitely affected. We have also seen the floods that are also caused by the Wildlife Irrigation Scheme reservoir for the Wildlife Irrigation Scheme. We are happy we have a big irrigation scheme in Wadilai, but it is also causing some flood because the reservoir, because of these tributaries and heavy rains coming, they have also caused a lot of floods. And we have seen gardens washed away around the Ujigu prisons. So these are challenges that are going to continue. And this projection that rains will continue up to December. Communities that are living in these vulnerable areas need to really be alert. And if there are options, according to them, they suggest that government should find alternative land for settlement. And then for them, they would only go to the plains only to do farming, rather than putting their houses in these floodplains. So this is why the committee came, so that the reports can be generated, this experience can be captured, the experiences of the fieldwork can be captured, the loss and damages also captured, the impact, general impact of the climate change captured. Now, this report will be used to advise Parliament and government on how best we should move as far as addressing climate change impacts like floods, landslides, strong winds, and other disasters. Because bringing relief aid alone, first, there are two problems there. We may not have the budget to have all these relief aids. We have seen schools that whose roofs are already blown off because of strong winds coming with these heavy rains and thunderstorms. And so we may not have the budget to bring all these relief items. So for us, we are advocating for prevention than cure. And prevention in this case, we are meaning that if you know that when it rains and the rain, maybe the flood level goes up to 50 or 100 meters, by now the technical people should have mapped those hot spots, the flood hot spots, and put a barrier there, and which will be cheaper than taking relief aid after destruction. If you know that, for example, your compound at home floods when it rains and the water is coming from the roadside, the only thing you do at the gate of your house, you can create a channel so that you divert the water not to enter your compound. Or you can put a barrier at the roadside so that the flood water from the roadside cannot branch in your compound. That's the same thing we have to do with rivers. We have people who are managing basin management, like the Nile Basin. They should by now map the hot spot along the River Nile all the way from Jinja. They should know that this place in Kamuli, this place in Amolatar, Chioga, this place in Bulisa, this place in Pakwach, this place in Obongi, floods when it rains. So we could map all those hot spots so that we can do a preventive measures than waiting to cure after the damages. So basically this is why my committee is here, and tomorrow we shall be in Bulisa, because sometime back a health center 3 of Bulisa was actually submerged, and people could not use that facility. So what is the use of putting very costly infrastructure if only flood waters after 2 hours to 3 hours of heavy rain can destroy it? So we are talking about government from now on should be developing resilient infrastructure, resilient roads that can withstand the impact of floods or heavy rains or climate change, but also resilient infrastructure like the housing, the bridges, so that it can support our economy. Otherwise, rains can actually collapse our economy. So basically, we as a committee, we are the people to advise Parliament and government on this. That's why we came.
They also said that, like, for each of Pakwach, there is always 2 seasons, dry spell and also flooding.
And one thing which came out clearly in Wadila is that they used to receive rain from August to November. But this year, 2023, they are receiving rain from May, and it is still continuing. We are already in November. It is still continuing. So they have also noticed the changes in the weather pattern. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Honorable.
Thank you.